So the main issue that entrepreneurs and founders experience when they're growing is they feel tied to that hustle at the beginning because they had to have that hustle in order to succeed. They had to do everything themselves, especially if they're bootstrapping, right? And the problem is they never learn to. So it's a struggle. It's a fight internally, right? With I have to do this. I have to do. You have to do everything, right? But in order to grow, you have to let go and delegate to other people.
They say it's lonely at the top. They're right. But you don't have to scale your company alone. Welcome to the Scaling CEO. I'm Glenn Gao, the CEO Success Coach. On this podcast, I sit down with top performing CEOs to uncover the hidden patterns and frameworks behind their success so you can avoid common pitfalls and accelerate your company's growth. Now, on to the show. My guest today is Norberto Clemente, a specialist in systematizing chaos into clarity. He is the founder of ProTopVA for 6- and 7-figure founders who are stuck in the weeds. He's not just selling a service, he's selling time. His team has worked with over 200 entrepreneurs and claimed more than 50,000 hours of their time. He's the expert on building scalable delegation frameworks, and his mission is based on one core belief. When you delegate well, your business thrives, and so do you. Norberto is here to help us all scale smarter. Norberto, welcome to the Scaling CEO.
Thank you very much, Glenn, for that introduction. I appreciate the invite. So I'm very excited, and so I'm ready to go.
Wonderful. Let's jump right in. Most founders I know live in that chaos you talk about. How many secretly believe they're the only ones who can fix it? And how do you break that hero mindset so they can finally delegate with confidence?
Absolutely. So every entrepreneur knows at some point if they don't quit, right? Because there's a lot of people that quit. That's why there's such a large number or such a high number of businesses that fail. Is because entrepreneurs, they quit. Okay. So, but if you spend enough time in the journey, you learn that there's only one direction that is going to take the business to success, and that is growth. Okay. So part of that growth, it's directly connected to learning how to let go. You have to let go. Okay. So the main issue that entrepreneurs and founders experience when they're growing is they feel tied to that hustle at the beginning because they had to have that hustle
Right.
in order to succeed. They had to do everything themselves, especially if they're bootstrapping, right? And the problem is they never learn to. So it's a struggle. It's a fight internally, right? With I have to do this. I have to do. You have to do everything, right? But in order to grow, you have to let go and delegate to other people. So it's an internal battle, right? And eventually, again, if you have the if you're in that journey of growing, you will learn that you just have to start letting go. It's not a baby anymore. That's my baby. It's not a baby anymore. It's a grown business, and
Right.
you need to just let it go, let it grow. Because if you keep trying to do everything, you're gonna be the bottleneck. You're gonna keep that business from growing, right? So it's very common, right? And but when people open their eyes to that fact, to that reality, right? That's what you actually go past this ceiling, right? And you get
And
to
I,
the next level.
and I completely agree with you. I think delegation is one of the key tenets of a successful CEO. And I often ask CEOs, how good are you at delegating? And I'll get a rank, maybe 6 or 7, maybe an 8 sometimes. And we discover that one of the reasons why they're not good at delegating is they don't have confidence in the people they're going to delegate to. And so we say, okay, now that's the issue we need to go work on. Talk to me a little bit about how you address that issue.
Absolutely, it's all about processes. So this is what I say. All right, the success of a business is not directly correlated with the quality of the product or service, even though the quality of the product or service is very important. And I know this is going to sound, crazy, but it's directly related to your processes and the people that you have behind those processes. Why? Because if you have the right people, you will have the right service and product. They will not let you fail. They will optimize it up until the business achieve that level of success. They will optimize your processes even if they suck at the beginning because you have the right people. So the right people build the right processes, and the right process and the
Right.
right people build the right product or service, right? And that's what takes
Perfect.
a to say. So it's all about, you don't need to necessarily trust people. You need to trust the process that you put in place. So if you put the right processes in place, you will be able to have the right people, the entire time. And again, it's not about trusting the people, even though that's important. But if you have the right process, you also will have the right culture in place. The right culture will get everybody in the same page. All right. And even though some people, I mean, everybody experiences issues when they are in a team environment, right, with all the people. But, just having the right culture in place will avoid those things from happening, and also will keep everything flowing. So documenting is key, and that's part of the phases of growing, getting to that CEO level, right? Because some CEOs, they still do a little bit of things that, things outside of that CEO
Right.
uh, task, or what they need to do, right? So sometimes they double as operators, they double as managers and as employees too, which they shouldn't, right? But eventually they will let go. They will learn to let go if they start outsourcing, and part of that is documentation. Just document the right process. With the right process, you will have the right people the entire time.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about you for a moment and how you, as a CEO, are scaling yourself in order to help the company grow.
Is an everyday thing, right? So every day you're learning a little bit more and more and more and more and more. And to me, I spend a lot because, in my company, it's all about, we help business owners grow through virtual assistants and outsourcing, delegating, but we also help them with their operations. We create a couple of tools and resources to do that. But to respond to your question, it's just basically documentation. I spend a lot of time as an architect of my own business, but at the same time trying
Oh,
to,
talk a little bit more about that. An architect of your own business.
well, it in business, you have to, you should never stop building building value, right? And it's not just building value out of the blue. You have to do it strategically, right? You have to take advantage of the market shifts, right? Or the things that are going on in the world in order to stay ahead and make sure that you succeed. And that you help your clients succeed as well with your product or service. Therefore, you're a forever architect. You because you're in the journey of growing. The journey of growing. While you're doing your research and development of your business, you learn a couple of things where you need to pivot, right? So I spend a lot of time uh, just on product, building my product,
Right.
perfecting my product, while I, do this that we're doing right now. Okay, networking and establishing strategic partnerships, which is also an important task for every CEO, right? But as I build my product, I actually believe that I'm rebuilding myself. You
Right.
know, I am I my the way my mind works is being rebuilt as I go, and as I build my product or service, and then perfect it and optimize it and make sure it always stays ahead, and again take advantage of the market shifts.
Well, let's talk about your personal journey a little bit more. Before you were systematizing chaos
Mhm.
and co-founding a real estate company, you were an artist for 8 years. So that's a
Yes,
fascinating jump.
that's
How
crazy.
does the artist who sees the world now in systems, how do you make that shift, or how do you apply the skills of an artist into something that, well, it sounds very rigid and non-artistic?
Mhm. Yeah, well, what made me start as an entrepreneur, from artist to entrepreneur, is not what is making me go on this path as of entrepreneurship, right? The motivation or the goal changed. At the beginning was all about freedom and financial freedom, and now it's all about value and excellence. So I used to be an artist, right? And one of my collectors actually came to me, and I asked him about his business because I was curious about how they would keep spending money on my art. Keep in mind I'm an immigrant from Cuba, and when I made it here, well, I don't have any family or anything, right? So I needed to pay bills, and what I knew to do was art. I was an artist, and I have my collectors, and they keep coming and buying my art, and I will sell my art for thousands. My art wasn't cheap, and they will keep writing those checks, or where's that money coming from, right? Because I come from Cuba. That my mindset is still in it's not an abundant mindset because everything was limited in my country, and I
Right.
used to struggle.
Right.
Everybody's poor. So he told me that he did real estate investing. That was what he was doing, right? And I started inquiring about real estate investing, and I learned the real estate investing. And from real estate investor, right, I started my agency right now. But I think it was all freedom, looking for freedom, trying to find financial freedom. One thing that I could never do was work for somebody else, and I still can't. I couldn't do that. My head wouldn't get around that idea. I just wanted to be free, right? And so that's how my journey started, right? But I just was looking for the opportunity and the freedom.
Well, what a powerful driver, the driver for freedom. And it strikes me that your very business is actually offering freedom to the CEO.
Correct.
Because if they can scale themselves, if they can scale themselves through a service like yours, then they have the freedom to focus where they can add the most value and focus where they get the most energy, which is the biggest complaints I get from the CEOs I work with was how do I get rid of all these things that are taking up my time where I'm not feeling like I can add the most value and where I don't get my energy. So I really see a powerful connection between your desire for freedom. And I want to ask you a question regarding delegation. That this is one of the key things in your, let's call it, success framework, is delegation. And so I know of CEOs that intellectually understand what you're saying, but frankly it's an emotional hurdle. And this goes back to your comments earlier about letting go. How do you help those CEOs who are struggling to scale themselves, the ones who agree with you but just can't let go?
That is actually a great question because when we started my agency, it was you come to us, we'll bring you talent, top talent, okay. But some people, they did not know how to get the most value of that talent in their company or agencies or businesses. And I realized that they needed more than that. Okay, they needed the talent, but they also needed the structure. And we actually, in order to tackle that problem, created some resources for the CEOs, right? For example, we created a centralized database of standard operating procedures with 17 of the most used standard operating procedures already pre-done. And ChatGPT prompt that would generate the entire standard operating procedure structure in seconds. So that means you can build, standard operating procedures in seconds for your company, which, normally would take, I don't know, an hour, maybe more, right? And all you need to do is just add some videos. We created a script to use in that video when building a standard operating procedure. We just build it all right? Everything right now is extremely easy to build standard operating procedures. Okay. And by giving these resources to the CEOs and founders and business owners additional with the virtual assistant, they have some structure to bring the virtual assistant in, okay, in order to provide to them if they don't have anything documented, which is the case at the beginning. All right, startup operating procedure is something that how do people start a business, right? They just have an idea, they're good at something, they want to do something out of for pleasure or need, and then when they start doing it, well, now they realize in order to keep the business going, right? Because when they are not in fulfillment, they are in marketing fulfillment. I need somebody for fulfillment or for marketing, one of both, so that I can have a little bit more time for. And then they start separating and firing themselves from each and every single one of these areas of the business. But the problem lies in not having processes throughout. You're doing all of that, you know how it's done, it's in your head, and you're explaining that to somebody else that you bring to your company, but you have nothing on paper. Okay,
Right,
so
right, right.
you have to interrupt everything you're doing to show somebody else how it's done. Now, if you have everything documented and done and recorded, all you have to do is assign to that person the videos and the start operating procedure, and that's it. You don't have to do.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So, mhm,
So you, I want to move. We're going to have to wrap up a little bit here on the topic that you've already talked about using AI. I want to drill down on that some more with you. So your business is built on, I'll call expert human virtual assistants,
yes.
and you're using AI to help set up that framework. But AI is now also automating many of those tasks that VAs traditionally handled. So as AI becomes the ultimate assistant, call it an agent or an assistant,
Mhm.
how does that change your scaling roadmap?
Well, yeah, we believe that the virtual assistant alongside with AI, they're just going to work as a complement. Okay. And of course, everybody should use AI. Okay. But you still need the human touch regardless. So, who's going to, for example, engineer those prompts? Or who's going to use those prompts to generate content? Or who's going to use those prompts to accelerate R&D in your business? So you always need, we'll always need somebody behind something that is using AI, and that is not you. So you will believe that you will always need people, right? Except that not for as much as before AI. For instance, right now copywriters, I mean, are almost out of the picture because you have AI there. You can train AI. You can get amazing content using AI. But now we have the issue that Google, will is actually how to say, trying to keep outside of the research or the ranking content generated by AI. So you need to humanize that content. That means you need to still do things, even so it's AI is not taking 100% over everything. We'll say 99 maybe, okay, but there's some things where you will need 100% human.
Right.
So that's what where the word virtual assistant comes in, and you leverage both.
Fantastic. Roberto, I really appreciate you sharing your insights with the audience. Tell us how we can reach out to you should people want to learn more about you.
Absolutely. So, again, Norberto Clemente on LinkedIn and everywhere. But also, you can go to our website, protopva.com. That's protopva.com. Stands for Professional Top Virtual Assistants. So, make sure you visit and get in touch with us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Scaling CEO. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow CEO who could benefit. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a quick rating as it really helps more people find the show. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. See you next time for more proven strategies to grow your business and leadership.